of nice to have a show for once that isn't like censored on blood. I think like I've seen so many shonen shows nowadays and all that. For some reason, it's like, oh, we can't have the characters even though they're fighting to the death having like bruises and like, you know, injuries and blood. And I'm like, thank God. Even though like a lot of people have been heavily criticizing Twin Star Exorcists, I mean, I think that's something they could praise. And hey, at least as well, especially the music as well. Like, I think no one can deny that. It's like when that music was kicking in, when that fight was happening, that was pretty awesome. So, still a very mixed, like, reaction towards, like, how everyone sort of, like, reacted to, like, the last episode of Twin Star Exorcist. As much as I thought, oh, it was kind of, you know, it was fine and all that, I still think it was, like, it was a good episode. It was, like, you know, there was a lot going on with Roku. People are still a bit mixed, and especially I can understand one of the reasons why. So it didn't even come to me until like the last little bit, like when people were saying, by the way, they just started just doing random stuff out of order now. Like all those people that we saw last week in that big, like, massive table of Organization 13 members, like, pretty much those guys weren't supposed to be there at that time. Like, especially like that redhead dude or something like that. And especially since we saw him in the preview of the next episode, I'm like, I don't know what they're doing, especially with this anymore. It was that, and they did filler, and it was like, we was doing a little bit of chapter 3, then chapter 7, like, it was madness and all that. It's like, you know, like, there was a bunch of people going like, you know, they fucked it up, it's bullshit and all that, and it's like, and I feel like, especially, like I've kind of said it before, and I kind of hate being, like, a broken record for it and all that, since some people say, oh, I hate the fucking filler characters, or I hate this. I'm not being like, I've seen worse cases of it. Like, I've seen worse cases, I think, like, as people would describe it as a butchering of an anime. I feel like even still the material feels right, and it's like, I can still, you know, read the manga if I need to. I know it's a bad excuse because people want, you know, they want the perfect adaptation a lot of the time. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to actually see what's going to be happening future on with this series, because definitely, I feel like when more people have been negative towards the show, I've been like, now I really want to see the manga, especially once this series ends. I want to see what's going on. So finally cutting into the episode itself, we get to see that Roguro was a little bit upset and all that, like, you know, after everything that happened, because his friend and all that, like, and his, pretty much his brother was telling Benio, saying basically, like, this is the thing that, like, you know, telling him that, you know, he had a messed up past, like, you know, he had a fucked up incident, whether it was all in the Kagare and stuff like that, and then pretty much it really felt like vibes of the Ruka right there from Naruto, where he was pretty much the older brother, and he was like saying like, this is how like I look after him, and it's like, although this led to Rokuro being a little bit selfish and being a bit of an asshole, and they're pretty much them having an argument, which led into those guys pretty much going to this haunted house, getting fucked up by the Kagare, and he was the only one left there, and the two other guys, like Shin, I think, and I, were like, yo, he's stuck there, and it ended up with Rokuro being, I need to step the fuck up, and even getting on his knees and begging Benio, like, please, you've got to do it. You've got to save it. Like, I definitely feel like, especially, like, before that, like, scene and all that, because that was the main majority of the episode coming into that. It's like, there was some scenes, like, especially when we saw Rokuro kind of wandering around. I don't know, it's like, maybe it's just, like, the pacing of it or something like that, but I felt like, especially with some of the animation and all that as well, it felt very stilted in some, like, scenes. Like, it was, like, staying on, like, the scene, like, too long. Like, you was able to see, like, oh, let's have a look at Benio for a while from a distance, and then she was, like, kind of staying there a little bit too long for my liking. It's like, can we stop seeing this just one image of her just staring there? Like, it was a little bit weird, like, doing that. But it's like, you know, I've seen that with most anime. It's like, you know, it's a way to save budget. Oh, I did appreciate when he fucking Shoryuken that massive, like, old lady and a granite. And I was thinking, like, wait a minute, is that the old couple from, like, the actual brochure that we saw? Because I was pretty sure and all that from what we saw. I believe, like, one of them had glasses from what we saw in there, and then there was the old man, and I think it was, like, the old lady had glasses. So it's like, I think that was a slight nod there, but are the Kagare, like, actually, like, you know, like, taking over humans or something? Or, like, that's what happens to them when they die or something like that? Like, I'm kind of curious if that's, like, some sort of, like, Bleach kind of, like, incident where it's, like, some, like, human souls and all that, if they're not purified and all that, they can turn into hollows. So I think I might have stumbled into something there. I don't know if I've, like, just kind of accidentally saw myself, or that was supposed to be a big reason or something like that. I mean, it could still be true, but I feel like they wouldn't have done that, especially, and it's like, like, okay, like, I kind of see that maybe that might be an actual thing I might have stepped onto, saying, like, that all the Kagare and all that, you know, they used to be people, and not just, like, just made, like, created out just no reason. I think they must be, like, you know, like, unpurified human soul, like, something like that. But at the ending of the episode, we did get to see, you know, like, Shoryuken, blood coming out of this, and it was like, him finally, I feel like now he's kind of getting out that stage where he's like, I'm kind of going to keep complaining, I'm kind of getting back into the Exorcist thing. And, you know, it did take a few episodes for him to do that. I mean, because especially with the third episode, he was kind of being a little bit whiny about it. And then also as well with this one, in a way he was. But then, you know, he did, you know, man up and he was like, you know, begging on the fucking floor to actually, you know, like, Benny, please save me. And it was pretty much up to him and all that to, like, save the day and all that. Although Benny shared a cool moment and all that, but it's like, no, this time you sort of see a little bit of teamwork, like, a tiny bit, and then he just rushed in and just killed it. I enjoyed the episode. I think, like, you know, it was a good one. There was some very weird scenes, though, like, felt like some scenes needed some transition or something. Like, I felt like during from it, I'm still enjoying it. Like, I know some people are like having nervous breakdowns with some of these characters appearing and all that, and you know, I'm no one to judge and all that, since obviously I don't know much of the manga's material. I don't know too much of the stuff that's going on, so I am curious to see what exactly they are going to be doing, but we'll honestly have to wait and see. Like, it's like, honestly, I don't know too much, so I'm kind of curious. I know obviously we've got that guy with the eye patch and all that. I've got to find out about him. I think he's supposed to be like a main antagonist, so like the season we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I think it was good. I think it was like a fine episode, nothing to like scream home about or anything like that. So I think definitely this one was like a 6.5 to like a 7. I thought it was like a fine episode. You know, you think comments down below, what did you think about this Twin Star Exorcist like episode? Personally for me, I think the one that standed out the most was probably the little bit seeing about the blood and everything, and also as well seeing the music kicking in, you know, like certain parts. It was really awesome. So for me, thank you much for watching as always, and I'll catch you beautiful bastards next time.